Good afternoon, everyone.
Well, a warm welcome to all our viewers. Thanks for tuning in. I'm joined once again by Melicia, Managing Director of Liqui Moly South Africa. Melicia, thanks for joining us, or am I joining you?
Whichever way is going to make you feel a bit more comfortable. We're joining each other.
I like that. Now, Melicia, let's get things kicked off. Your values and ethics launched Liqui Moly in South Africa during a recession. What gave you the confidence in order to achieve this?
I think if I have to look back and if I look at where Liqui Moly was launched in 2007, 2008, the biggest advantage at that time was the training or the skills that I've been accumulating and working on myself before that. And a lot of those ethics were in a sense of focusing on developing yourself and don't fit in, but stand out. So when Liqui Moly was launched, there was so many negativity in the market. Everybody was, are you crazy? People are times are tough. There are so many other lubricant brands out there. You're not going to make it. People want the cheapest product. And I was fortunate enough to have learned quite a lot through Herbalife and through setting value and not price, and standing out and not fitting in. And that was the plan. And I think from the start, it wasn't where we were then. It was where I saw the brand being in South Africa. And that made the difference, because I did not see that time as my focus. It was a focus on where I saw the brand in 10 years, and 15 years, and 20 years. And everything I did at that time was to make sure that whatever we implemented was going to be done at that time to make sure that it is according to the goal and the idea of where I wanted the brand to go.
Now, a lot of people are talking about survival during these unprecedented times. What does survival mean to you?
I have a huge problem with survive. And I hear that a lot in the market, and people say, I just want to survive, and just make sure that your business survive, and let's survive through COVID-19. So there's a lot of things that's happening now that is, everybody is unsure, but it's also, it's some things that we can't change. So the virus is a reality. Lockdown all over the world in different areas, and the economy going down and people dying, that's a reality. But those are the things that we cannot do anything about. And for me, the word survival means you need to know, what does survival look like? Because if you need to survive, you need to know when this is going to end. And I don't know about you, but I don't know when this is going to end. When they're going to find a cure, when everybody will be vaccinated. I don't know that. So if I look at survival is something that if I know I want to go and do a tour through the desert, and I need to make sure that I have enough to survive. I know how many days, how many water I need to take, how much fuel. If I have a budget in my normal living circumstances, I know exactly what my expenses is and what my income is going to be. But now we're in a situation where I have no idea what survival looks like. So how do you then survive? For me, that is a word that where the focus is on just barely making it. And exactly in the way that Liqui Moly was launched, if the focus was to try and survive through the recession, we wouldn't be where we are today. And so I don't think survival is a good word. I think I would rather want to focus on thriving. This is a unprecedented times that we are in. Things are very changing dramatically, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and people are losing jobs, and people are getting retrenched, and businesses are not making it. But we have no idea when that's going to end. So if you have been farming and you have a huge land and you've been doing things a certain way, and you know to survive or to be able to make sure I can take care of my family, I need to sow that much, it's now different. So if I look at where we are today and what's happening currently all over the world, the focus should be not on the wall. And the wall for me is survival. And if you're, we're in Liqui Moly and racing is in our blood. And I know anybody, whether you're on a bicycle or whether you're in a car, or whether I now say, don't think of pink elephants. Just don't think of pink elephants. Whatever you're doing, don't think of pink elephants. What are you thinking about?
Pink elephants.
Pink elephants. If you're going to focus on the wall, survival, the chances of you hitting that wall or not making it is very, very high. We have to sow and be able to focus on where we want to go.
So it's like in mountain biking where they always say, look where you want to go, not where you don't want to go. If you're looking at the big rock, that's exactly where you're going to end up. But you got to look at the trail ahead of you.
Yeah, so and that for me is the advice I would give to everyone, any business, is don't use the word survival, because that doesn't paint a clear picture. It is thriving. And you also don't know what thriving looks like. And for me, the way I'm seeing the current situation is I have to sow so much that I can take care of my family, employees, business, and must be able to give away. My focus is on having enough to give away, because that is far more than just surviving. And if that is going to be my focus, the chances that I'm going to hit the wall is going to be far less than focusing in on it.
Now, Melicia, 12 years with Liqui Moly, 25 people under your leadership. I know you believe in empowering everybody in your team. Tell me, how did you keep the morale up during lockdown, when we went into those weeks of lockdown? What did you do that was different to a normal sort of company?
So I think there's a lot we do that's different. I don't believe in doing things the same as everybody else. So if you've been at our Liqui Moly offices and you've been here in the mornings before 8 o'clock, you'll know that we dance. We have the whole team, whether it is one of the drivers or in the warehouse. If you're in the office, we come together and we dance. We have a line dance that we enjoy doing, and whether you're good in it or not so good, it just brings such a nice vibe. But when it was announced that we had to go into lockdown, it was so important for me to be able to make sure that my team and all our partners are going to be okay. And I think if I say okay, one of the most valuable aspects or something that I believe makes a big difference is your happiness. So it's the energy you have and in your state of mind. So we've always had a group in the team that every morning when you get up, and it was something that I enforced in the beginning, and I think they understand now why I did it. So in the beginning you say you have to do it, and eventually it becomes a routine. It is to start the day with a grateful message. So to get up and say, I'm grateful for my family, or grateful for my house, or grateful for water, or grateful for food. And every single one of the team have to start that way and also end the day that way. And where we used to do it only from a Monday to a Friday, when we went into lockdown, it was let's do it every morning, every evening, and even over weekends. So that was one thing that we did to be able to make sure in the times that we're apart that still we can read each other's grateful message, because I believe if you're grateful and you focus on the things you have, it puts you in a totally different state of mind.
Yeah.
And we also made sure there's a development of skills. So everybody left the warehouse with a book or an audible book or some form of reading material so that they can work on that. So the requirement was, if you go home, I need you to work on your health. I need you to work on your skills, or a skill that you're going to develop, whether it is learning a new language or cooking or whether it is writing, it doesn't matter. And then also personal development. And we kept in touch with each other to be able to make sure every single day we're on track, new skills are being developed, and we just went out and made sure that everybody could learn as much as possible and develop themselves, because things are not normal anymore, and we need to be better and stronger, and we need to be that as a team, and we need to make sure that all our partners are the same. So in that period, that is the way we made sure that everybody had a morale and an energy and an attitude that was just positive. And you came into the warehouse today, and we have people coming to visit us, and they say that they feel it.
Yeah. And any real success stories that came out of it? Anybody that learned how to cook and now cooking lunch for the whole team?
I must be honest, it was so amazing. We actually had reviews on all the different books. And Palesa mentioned she wanted to take the 5 love languages. And she was giving feedback on the book, and she said she always went into a silent mode. So she expected her husband to be a magician and just know what she wanted. And if he wasn't acting the way she wanted without having to say, then she was just ignoring him for 5 or 6 days. And then after reading the book, she realized, but she has to communicate. She actually has to tell him what is important to her, and why she wants certain things done, and how it's made such an impact on her relationship and her marriage, and now understanding that she has to actually tell her husband what she wants from him. So it was amazing to be able to see the smile and the energy and the excitement that came from her. And I mean, there's so many different stories of skills and cooking and getting things done and exercising, and people starting to run 5 kilometers and they've never exercised. So it was quite it's such a nice experience to be able to see how everybody just kept so positive during lockdown, coming back even better than the time that we went into lockdown.
I think that's the main thing, just that growth from point A to point B, coming out with some skill that you developed over lockdown. Now, the wisdom you live your life by, how you do anything is how you do everything. It really resonates with me. What was the turning point in your life that this became the enlightenment that you live your life by?
I think the first time I heard that T. Harv Eckert quote, I thought to myself, it's so true. And I could actually look back at my own life and think of things that I do, and I don't do it fully. And that would filter through into other things. And when I made that my motto, everything that I do, I think if that's the only thing that someone would see, how would they judge me?
Yeah.
Because if I do something great and it's in the spotlight, but when I'm at home, I mean, it's the same as if you drive and you're not putting your indicator on, and you say, okay, but why not? You say, but there's nobody behind me. So are you only a good person when someone is watching?
Yeah.
So be a good person at all times. Do everything fully. Don't do anything without full commitment. And do everything that if you're going to be judged on that thing, that it will show what you're all about or what your ethics and your values are.
Okay, so we're hitting level 3 on Monday, 1st of June. What do you think is going to change? I mean, do you think it's going to be grass is greener in level 3 than it is in level 4?
I don't. I think we are using the situation that's happening now as a reason to blame. I mean, I look at myself, and if before lockdown or even before COVID-19, if you were picking up 2 or 3 kilograms every 2 or 3 months or per year, you 10 to 1 would have come out of lockdown even heavier. If you didn't have a great relationship with your partner before lockdown, before COVID-19, going into lockdown would have 10 to 1, that whole situation, if you didn't work on it, would be worse off. So we have a lot of cracks in our foundation. And I think COVID-19 just exposes that. So for me, level 3 level 3 that opens up on Monday, I think it changes the businesses that can open, and I'm so grateful that we can have more businesses in operation and opening up. But I don't think that makes a difference to where we are, because if you look at the numbers and you look at the deaths and you look at already the damage that has been done on the economy, I think there's going to still be quite a lot of challenges. And I think the important part is whether it's level 2 or level 3 or level 1, it's going to be so important that we focus on developing ourselves, because things are not normal. things are not the same. People have lost jobs. The economy is in a different place. People have less income. Some people are receiving a certain percentage. Others are on UIF. So even though we're going on level 3 and it's giving relief and we can exercise whenever we want to, and it's not just from 6 to 9 and you have the crowded roads and streets, and but I don't think we're past the storm. I think it's just the beginning, and I think even though it's going to be level 3 or level 2, we should still have the same fundamental view and make sure that we don't wait for things to go back to normal or back to level 2 or back to level 1, but see how you can reinvent yourself in so many ways so that you can thrive through this. And I have a way of explaining that. If this is what normal looked like to you, and this was your tool, and this is what you were skilled at, and this is who you were, and it was easy for you to come to work and do what you needed to do, and to go back home and do what you needed to do. Through this whole COVID-19, it has changed. It looks differently. Business looks differently. Everything looks different. If I'm going to come back to reality, or what I think is going to be normal, with my same skills, with my same tools, doesn't matter what I do with this, how well I get dressed, how I try to do anything, this tool is not going to be able to work on this nut. So I need to make sure that I get as many skills and tools that doesn't matter what this pandemic is going to throw at me. I have the tools to be able to handle it. I have the tools to thrive. I'm doing things different. I'm thinking out of the box. I'm really working on making sure that those cracks of whether it was financial or whether it was with my family or with my wife or in my business, that I work on fixing those. So level 3 is not going to take that away. I need to improve my skills because things are not going to be normal again. And if I want to make sure that I'm never going to be in this situation again, and if I say in a situation where you now feel that you are lost, you have the opportunity to change that. So excited about level 3, but I do think it's full out working on yourself to make sure that you can improve your skills, because nothing is going to be normal, even though it's level 3.
It's going to be the quickest to adapt to the change that are going to be the ones that are going to thrive.
Yeah.
So let's talk about advice. Advice that you received in your life. What was the most rewarding advice that you received?
So I've had a lot of really low points in my life, and if I look at those crises or those low points in my life, those are the ones that I grew the most. Those are the ones that put me onto the direction where I am today. And one of the best advices I received in my life was work harder on yourself than what you work on anything. And I was someone that was blaming. When I was liquidated a lot of years ago, I was blaming. When my colon burst, I was blaming. And when I got involved with Herbalife, I got into personal development. That was new to me. I didn't grow up in a house where there was a big focus on personal development. If I say that, I mean, and I don't think a lot of people are in contact with that. So when I was introduced into personal development, Jim Rohn was still alive then in Herbalife, and he said, success is something you attract by the person you become. And in the beginning, it didn't make sense to me. And he added on to it, and he said, work harder on yourself than what you would ever work on your job. And that's all I started doing. I looked in the mirror and I looked at all my flaws, all my cracks. I saw all the things I was doing wrong. I was expecting to have financial abundance, but I didn't learn as much as what I possibly could from people that were financially abundant. I wanted to grow a business, but I never learned from someone that properly grew a business. I wanted to be healthy, but I never really studied health. So I went and really got to look at myself and work on myself. And I've just scratched the surface. The one thing I do every single day is to work on myself, to be better today than I was yesterday. And if that is the goal that I wake up with, is to be a better person today than what I was yesterday. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be where I am today.
So in any way, whether it's health, whether it's skills development, just work on yourself every day.
Every day, every single day, because as soon as you get yourself blaming, I'm in this situation because of our government, I'm in this situation because of my boss, I'm in this situation because of my family, I'm in this situation because I was dealt a bad card. That's not true. You're in this situation because you have limited tools. You are trying to use one tool to be able to do everything. And you can change that, because there are so much information, there are so many examples, there are so many people that have been rock bottom and have flourished in life. And if you can take responsibility for your own life, responsibility for your own business, responsibility for your own family, responsibility for your relationship with people, responsibility for your children, then your life is going to be different, because you can change it. It is not then in the hands of the government or anybody else, and it's in your hands. And it doesn't happen easy. I know we go and crash diets because we want to take a pill and we want to be better looking tomorrow, and we want to run 10 kilometers, and next day we're going to fit into a smaller size. It takes some time, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I think those are words to live by. So give us a day in the life of Melicia. So like, what is your routine daily? And maybe someone might be able to implement it into their lives.
So you ask me my routine, I always, when I share it with people, they are always like, oh, I wouldn't be able to do that. But I also, like I just mentioned, things don't happen overnight. If you're going to sow seeds, but you are not going to look after them and give them water, they're not going to come up. And if you do that and they're going to come up, but you don't harvest, then you're not going to be able to take advantage of it. So you have to have disciplines and habits, because those habits is going to shape you. So in a day of Melicia, and my routine is what sets up my day. But I get up in the morning at 3 o'clock. I get my Herbalife Thermogetics ready, or my water, get ready and get dressed. And then I make sure I get onto the bicycle. I have training for an hour. And in that hour, whether it's on the bicycle or whether it is on I'm running, after that I get ready. And the time that I do get ready, so while I'm on the bicycle, I do I send the quote for my team for the day. I also do listen to podcasts. Then when I get ready to come to work, I listen to a book, Audible. So while I'm getting ready, whether doesn't matter what book I'm busy with, mindset or how to influence people. I love the Audible books. Then on my way to work, I do affirmations. It's about 15 minutes to the office this early. So when I get to the office, I've done quite a lot of affirmations.
And using your indicator the whole way.
Yeah. Nobody's there, indicator on. Then at the office, it's always nice. There's a lot of the team that are all here early as well. Getting all the emails done, making sure that is all in place. In normal circumstances, we would then all just have a meeting together. Now we have it on Zoom for the guys that are not in the office. Set out my day. I have all my appointments. There are certain things that I have to do, so I have a structure to be able to make sure most important things, income productive things first. And then at the end of the day, before that still there was meditation, and also my grateful guide. And all these things in the morning that I do before 6 o'clock sets my day up for magic. And then I ask myself a question. I write it down with my grateful guide every single morning. And I write, how can I make today even more magical? And just those little habits while driving to work, it's just such a, I mean, you see all the amazing things. You see people smiling instead of people begging. You see the birds, you see the sunrise, you appreciate things differently. And in the evening when I get home, I'm someone that before I sleep, I watch something that makes me laugh. I love laughing. It's just something that gets me to switch off from the day, and can make sure that I sleep without trying to solve some ideas in my head. And once again, on the grateful note. So my grateful guide, I say what I'm grateful for today. So, and that's a routine I follow every single day to be able to make sure I stay positive, I can lead my team, creative and different ideas, and can make sure everybody I touch, I can be in a state of mind where I can add value.
Well, I think it's some inspiring stuff. We've had one question that's come in from one of the viewers. I'd like to open that as well to our viewers. Please comment on we've got it in front of us, so please comment and give us any questions that you'd like to ask Melicia. We have one here. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Anywhere in the world, would that be? I love nature, and I've been fortunate and very grateful that I've been able to travel quite a lot. But there has been places that I haven't visited yet, so I would love to visit NASA. And there's a part of me that will never grow up. And if I have to travel the world, and I've been in the United States, but I haven't been to Disney World. And it's one place that that's on my bucket list, it's where I really want to go to, because I've always wanted to, and I know even the first time I was in Germany, Legoland was a must. So I enjoy seeing the mountains and being able to cycle everywhere and traveling all over, but I still have that little part of me that will never grow up, and that part of me wants to go to Disney World.
Okay, so I've got another question for you. What would you do with your 15 minutes of fame?
15 minutes of fame. A big drive for me in my life is to impact people. Things have happened in my life that have shown me that if I work on myself, I can become more, and that there's no limits. There's nothing, doesn't matter where you're from, how much money you have, how much money you don't have, that is impossible. If you set your mind to it, you can achieve it. And if I have to think of my 15 minutes of fame, probably will be on my deathbed. And if I would look at that, and there would be people around that I've impacted their lives, and they've been able to achieve goals and gone into a totally different direction, and have thrived in life, an abundance of all things that were important to them, and success and family life and happiness, then I think I would be so happy, and it wouldn't be any issue to leave this world behind, because that's the goal I live by, is to be able to impact and to add value to people's lives.
So you would say that is what success looks like to you?
You know, success for me is changing, helping people see that they can be better. And I see it even in Liqui Moly. I mean, I think I told you a little bit earlier today. I look at Tiens. So Tiens, I met. He came. There was a receptionist position in Liqui Moly, and he came with a very colourful shirt and a very opposite colour tie. And it was a guy with, I don't know if you've ever watched that ad where it says, seeing the potential and being willing to wait.
Yeah.
And Tiens is one of those. And so lost, but seeing that hunger in his eyes to just give his family a better life. And I look at him today, and I'm so proud, because he's become a person that, it's just every single day there's improvement, and it's unbelievable to see. So that's definitely for me my drive in life.
So we've got another question here. If you could have any superpower or be any superhero, who would it be, and what would that power be?
I don't know what the superhero will be called, but that superpower would be to let someone see themselves in 20 years if they change the things that are holding them back. And because I don't think people see, they can't imagine that, because they're only stuck in seeing that wall. And I always try to paint that picture, because if I have to think of the time in 2000 when I was liquidated and I was sitting in that garage that was made into a flat, and I was eating popcorn as a meal. And I remember my first Herbalife royalty check was in a little envelope, and my mother drew it because I didn't have a bank account anymore, and she had it in this envelope for me. And if I look at that time now and I know what I have changed and I see where I am now, if I would be able to see that, I now know that experience and what I've had to do to be where I am today, and also what I'm still doing because of the vision of what I have for the next 20 years. But if I had that superpower to be able to take someone that is rock bottom or can't see how their life can change, and you can just let them see by changing a couple of things, and then let them see where they'll be in 10 years and in 20 years. I think you can change so much more people's lives, because then they'll have hope. They'll have that vision of where they could be if they just made better choices.
Well, I feel bad now for wanting to fly.
Good help in mountain biking, but I don't know. I would want to do that.
And how do you celebrate success?
I have an unbelievable partner, and sometimes I'm so busy trying to look at the next goal and helping the next, putting some new ideas in place. And thank goodness my partner, Yolandi, sometimes just stops and says, you know what, just look at what you've been able to achieve and what you've been doing and how you impacted that person. And that helps me to be able to celebrate it, because I sometimes get lost in the next moment.
Yeah.
And but I'm happier in nature, so I feel like celebrating life every single day. I love humor. I love laughing. So for me, success is every single day. And if I say it's every single day, every day above ground is a good day. So and I celebrate that by just being grateful for having another day and being able to impact someone's life and come up with new ideas and make a success of that specific day.
So Yolandi, speaking of Yolandi, she's actually got a question for us. What has been your driving force to consistently grow, and what are the first steps that people can take to become more?
So the driving force for me is, it's become a habit. I have an enormous drive to grow, and it wasn't, I don't know if it's always been there, but the more I've been putting habits together and working on myself, the more the rewards have come my way. So if I have to give advice to someone of how could they change and what they should implement now and do differently, I think it's the advice I can give to anyone is what you see is not working well in your life, finances, relationships. Go out and find out as much as possible about it. As much as what you possibly can. Learn from everybody. I mean, there's so much information out there today that is for free. If you can just copy success, find someone that was in the same situation as what you are and have made a success of it, and copy them. Don't try to solve it yourself, because we get to situations and we think that, and Einstein said, we're trying to fix a problem with the same mind that created it. If you're in bad finances, that was you that created it. For you to change it, take advice from someone that is great in finances. Learn as much as possible that you can from money. If your health is not great, go and find someone that has been the same weight as what you are, and how they changed their life, and what did they do, and how did they eat, and try and make sure that you can implement that and be consistent. And that's the same with your relationship. If you want a relationship to work, learn from people that have had unbelievable relationships, that when they are married for 60 years, they are still holding hands, and you would think they've just got married and they're still on their honeymoon. So my advice to people is, don't try to fix things with the same mind that created it. Get yourself, and if you don't know how to connect to that. I mean, there's so much. We are so fortunate to have the World Wide Web, and technology is everywhere, and books are available, and there are so much that you can actually get for free, and a lot of people are willing to share. Just get as much information so that you can keep on growing, and you can be able to see what you need to do differently to do better, to become better and to put yourself on a journey of abundance in all aspects of your life.
Now, I know a lot of people that admire you. Who do you admire most?
If I look at my role models, Tony Robbins have always been a role model of mine. I mean, when I was in that flat of mine with the popcorn as a main meal,
What flavor was it?
It was plain. It wasn't one of those that you put in a microwave machine that comes with spices. No, it was plain. But it looked, if it popped, it looked like a big meal, and that was what I could afford then. But I received a CD set. Personal Power. I don't know if you remember, it was infomercials of Tony Robbins, and I was biting my nails and I was in a really bad condition, and I started going through that, and he changed my life. If I say he changed my life, I could implement a lot of different things, that I could visualize myself in a different position, that I could stop having bad habits. And if I look at Tony Robbins and where he came from, and the life that he's gone through, and his commitment to be able to change people's lives, is an amazing inspiration for me. And then also Ellen DeGeneres. The reason why I admire her so much is she also has come through quite a rough time. And there's a lot of things that she had to go through in her life, but she has a sense of humor. She has a way of connecting to people. She has a way of giving that I absolutely admire, and it's always an inspiration for me to be able to see how there's always just new innovations and new ways for her to be able to add value to everybody that follows her.
So, if a movie was made about your life, what genre would it be, and who would play the leading role?
What genre would it be? It has to be a comedy.
Comedy.
Yeah, a comedy. We were cycling over the weekend on Saturday, and Keith, my buddy, it was quite cold, and we were cycling, and it's becoming 6 to 9, so we have to rush it all. And when we're talking about the book that I'm writing, and he said to me, "Buddy, definitely, I hope you were writing about the time that you fell in Linksfield." I said, "What are you talking about? That's going to be the cover page." Me with my head in the mud, the bicycle at the top. So it will definitely be a comedy, because there has been so many things, and some of them probably at the time I wanted to cry. But if I look back at it, still, I mean, the lessons and then the way that it's been, the changes that it's made in my life, it's unbelievable. So definitely a comedy. Who would play the main role? I really don't know. If it has to be someone that I always think of, I think it's the movie The Good Life. Okay. And the way he portrayed, and he was just ideal for that role, because he was so, the passion and the way he was doing things in that movie was so unbelievable, and always in a good spirit. So I think it has to be someone that can also, that shines, or not shines, that has that love of life and impact in people, because I think that comes across, that is something that you actually see. Yeah. So I don't know who that is yet, so you'll have to come back to that question.
We've got another question coming in here. What is the best lesson you've learned?
I don't know if we covered that just now, about the personal development aspect. But if I have to think of a lesson, it is we always make things worse in our mind. And we are looking at even now, the time that we're in, and we're looking at what's happening on the news, and we're looking at what's going on all around us. And once again, that's the focus on the wall. So, and we have a way of making some things really massive in our mind, and then we actually get to it, and then we see it wasn't that tough, or it wasn't that hard, or I want to start this business, but we're overthinking it, and we're thinking, I don't have the skills, I don't have the finances, I don't have this, I'm not as pretty, I'm not as tall, I'm not as short, I'm not as all these things. So I think the biggest lesson for me as well was, because it was important, in a lot of cases I've doubted myself. Am I good enough for this? Am I going to be able to get through this? And those are the wrong questions to ask. So a lesson that I've learned from myself is ask good questions. What can I learn from this? How can I get better to be able to do this? What skills can I learn to be able to get through this pandemic? What lessons and what skills can I learn now to be able to make sure that I thrive? What can I do different in my business? So asking really good questions that are positive and will get you to grow, that will not numb you and keep you still. Because now is the time where a lot of changes are happening, and if you're standing still, you're in a very, very, very bad spot, because you're going to be run over or left behind. It's now time to move. And if you overthink that, and if you ask the wrong questions, you're going to stand still.
And I suppose you've got to be in the traffic to see the gaps. If you're not in the traffic, you're standing still.
No, and that run over is going to happen
very quickly. Okay, so here's just a fun question. If you were stranded on a desert island, what Liqui Moly product would you take with you?
If that island has rats,
I thought you were going to say that. Just spray a little circle around yourself.
If it has Corsa Light, the cold spray.
Oh, awesome, Melicia. So any closing remarks, anything you want to leave the viewers with?
I know it is for a lot of people at very uncertain times, but there are a lot of things that you can't control. Don't try to control them. Focus on where you want to be. Focus on what thriving looks like for you, your family, your business, your employees. So life is the C between B and D. B, which is birth, D, which is death, and the C is choices. You have choices every single day to thrive, to take responsibility for your own life, or to keep on doing the same things and drown. So make good choices. Make those choices now, because you have to sow now as much as what you possibly can. In Liqui Moly, if I look at what we're doing now, 80% of things that we are doing are new things. We are sowing so many. We are trying new things. We are making sure we connect with people in a different way. We are making sure we think of how are people operating. So make good choices. Make sure that you are looking at opportunities to grow, opportunities to improve your skills. If you're currently in a situation where you're going to go back to work on Monday, what are you going to bring to the table? It's your choice to be able to come forward and say, I've learned new skills.
Yeah.
I can add more value to this company. I can make sure that I can help so that we can thrive. But if you're expecting to come back and you haven't done anything different, and we're in a period of time that has totally changed, you're going to be left behind. If you've been doing sales and you've just mediocrely sold done added value and sold, it's going to be different now. You're not going to be able to sow and to reap the same amount. It's going to have to be far more. You're going to need to learn more skills. So make choices in life to make sure that you can be the best possible you that you can be.
So, Melicia, we've obviously, with Liqui Moly, we've got some exciting things coming up. What are you most excited for?
We've put so many new things in place. I mean, what's amazing is the entire team are coming up with ideas. The ladies in admin have given ideas. The marketing team is giving ideas. The guys in the warehouse are giving ideas, and we're implementing them. And because if we're going to have 20 rods in the dam, and only
Hopefully
5 is going to shoot, then at least we've
bites.
got something. But if I only have 5 in, the chances that I'm not going to eat tonight is going to be much higher. So we've got quite a lot of things that we've implemented. We've got a DIY page. We've got the Melly and Shelley show. We've got different interviews. Monday, we're also launching the My Liqui Moly international competition. And we have our puzzle search, and also focused on adding value into people when it comes to business and our partners, to be able to make sure we come up with new ideas so that they can thrive and all our partners out there can thrive. And the reality is in life that some will, some won't, and that's okay. But I'm excited for those that are willing to jump in with us and get involved with all the things that's been going on, and just share in that energy and that enthusiasm and not focusing on surviving.
Yeah.
In Liqui Moly now we are focusing on thriving, and I don't know what that looks like. I just know it's massive. We have to do 20, 30, 40 times, 100 times more than what we've ever done. And please keep lookout for all those things that we are implementing, those competitions and those initiatives that we are putting into place.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, Melicia. It's been very, very inspirational. I think the viewers have a hell of a lot to look forward to, lots of things coming up. And yeah, thanks for sharing your inspiration with us.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, everyone. And my last piece of advice, don't stand still. Just make sure that you're developing your skills, because the one skill gets to the next one. And I always say, life is also like a box of Lego. We look at what it needs to look like on the outside and we get overwhelmed and we overthink it. But if we look at the book, it's one Lego block at a time. Just take those changes and make those changes one bit at a time. And that will come and you'll add more to that. Don't be overwhelmed. Just start with something. Just change and make sure that you're going to be able to, the next crisis or pandemic or whatever happens, you're ready for it, because you have implemented and you have the tools to thrive no matter what life throws at you.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in and joining us. Live interview with Melicia Labuschagne.